focusing on social media usage and the do's and don'ts of that. So without further ado, I'll just let Lee take it away, and then we'll open up for questions.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. It's awesome to be back here. It's been probably about 10 years since I've been back, and things have obviously changed a lot for the better, and some great memories here. I spent for the past 15 years, I was kind of lived my dream as a TV anchor. I started in Billings, Montana, then went to Tallahassee, then Jacksonville, Florida, back to Tallahassee, got married, had a couple kids, and then decided to get into the communication side of things. And so for the past year and a half or so, I work at 180 Communications in Tallahassee, Florida, and so we do a lot of PR for clients, but a big part of what we do is media training. And we travel around to a lot of different college campuses. We work with the NFL Combine guys. We do a lot of Major League Baseball, and we teach them about two things. One, you're the CEO of your own brand. What exactly does that mean? And then also social media. It's the reporter's dream. I mean, we used to, put all the Florida State football players in the Hootsuite and just watch them tweet news after news after story after story after story, and it was a dream come true for us. And so what we do is we go around campuses and work with these athletes and say, at some point in your life, you're going to apply for a job. At some point in your life, you're going to go beyond the bubble of college athletics. So what have you done while you're here to help build your brand? And so this one is a lot more special for me just because this is where I went to school. I love this school. I love this campus and everything about it. So catching up with Coach Mueller. And my fraternity little brother is now Senator Jason Berkman. So it was nice to spend some time with him. And he was in my wedding. So it was great to spend a little time and see some familiar faces again. So it's been a pleasure. It's kind of our busy time. We go kind of from school to school. I'll leave here, go back to Florida tonight, hopefully, if we get out tonight, then hit the spring training route over the next couple of weeks. So it's been a blast. It's been fun, and I really wish I could stay longer. I have to come back again. Football season now.
Any questions for Lee?
Yeah, Lee, what are some of the pitfalls that guys run into with social media that it might seem innocent to them that they put something out there and it backfires, and is there some specific things that they got to really guard against?
It's usually tweeting after midnight is a lot of what we see. It's kind of that, we always joke with them, when you hit send, it doesn't say, are you really sure? Are you positively sure? Anything that can directly impact not only your brand, but anything that's going to show up in your column, anything that's going to show up in the news as something that's detrimental. And we use a couple different examples. One is Brandon Jacobs, who was used now from his Instagram pictures, and he got himself kicked off the 49ers and lost out on an opportunity to be in the Super Bowl. There's that kid from North Alabama who tweeted about President Obama right after the Sandy Hook tragedy, and he got kicked off the team. And then Rashard Mendenhall. He's got the world in the palm of his hand, and he's got Champion as an endorser, and he's got all those great things. And then he sends out a tweet about Osama bin Laden, and Champion drops him, and he has to make a public apology. And we use a lot of Florida State examples because there have been a lot of those examples over the past couple of years, and just because they're so close to home. And there's one instance of a player. His name's Tyler Hunter. We use this in all of our presentations. He got pulled over for tinted windows and a busted taillight, and it took too long. The traffic stop, in his opinion, took too long. And he started tweeting about different things. It's taking too long. And then he started quoting lyrics and started talking about cop killing. And there's your headline right there the next day. And so what they think is innocent, what they think they're just sending to their 10 friends, it's nothing's private. And that's one thing. Anything that happens on the internet stays on the internet. And try to make them see that.
How many schools prevent Twitter accounts? I mean, I know U of I right now, they're not letting the kids tweet during the season. Is that something that's going to have to end? I mean, our team's it's just too big to stop it, or?
There's a lot. I know Florida State football does it. I know Steve Spurrier does it at South Carolina, and U of I, as you mentioned. I think St. John's basketball even does. What we found is it's just a Band-Aid over a bigger problem, because if you're not bringing someone in or even doing it internally to talk about it, at some point in their life, they're going to start tweeting again. At some point in their life, they're going to start Facebooking again. And if you haven't taught them what to do or how to do it, they've got 6 months of pent-up rage and frustration. They're just going to, as soon as you let them loose, they're going to do it. It's a Band-Aid fix, there's no question, but it prevents the coaches at that university from having to deal with it kind of on their watch, so to speak. But you just hope that they learn that if there's enough examples of guys who have done it and lost out on a scholarship, We show a video of this kid, Josh Jarbo, played at Oklahoma, a 5-star recruit. And the day he signed, he goes out and makes a YouTube video and just everything he's going to do to OSU and Kansas State and Kansas. And I mean, it's awful. I mean, he can sing, but it's just this awful, awful video. And so one of the boosters found out about it and called Bob Stoops and said, if this is the kind of guy you're recruiting, I'm pulling my money out. And now they've got a huge problem. And so he lost his scholarship the same day he got it and found himself back at Troy and got himself arrested. And now he's at Arkansas State just trying to work his way back in. And so, education, what we have found, the schools that we work with who have educated their student athletes, I think we've seen a lot less. There's always going to be one or two. There's always one or two in every group. But we've seen a lot less issues with
Well, the negative feedback they get through Facebook and Twitter, how do you tell them to deal with that? I mean, when they miss a game-winning shot and the Twitter's blowing up about how bad they are when they're a 18 to 22-year-old kid, do you deal with that?
Yeah, and actually it's a good question because we use an example, again, the Florida State example, but there's this player, Greg Reed, and he was their starting cornerback, and now he's off the team. But his entire life, his father was in jail. His entire childhood, never saw him play. So Florida State plays Wake Forest. They should never lose to Wake Forest, but this particular game, they lose to Wake Forest. Greg Reed blows the coverage. And I don't have the exact tweet, but it's something, something happened, whatever, like your dad in prison, you piece of, and it was just an awful tweet. And so we saw it in the newsroom and was like, well, who's this kid? It's just a random student at FSU just trying to pound his chest and say, look, but then he responded to it. And so you're talking about a kid who has 10 followers, now a guy who's got 50,000 followers was responding to it. So our message to them is don't respond to that stuff. You might want to, but nothing good is going to come out of it because the only thing that people are going to care about is you and what you said. If something like that happens, tell somebody, let them deal with it. Let an administrator deal with it because you don't want to make headlines for something you didn't have anything to do with because they're going to get that. Coaches are going to get that. I'm sure Dan will tell you when he comes in here, he probably gets it after every game. It's how you deal with it or not deal with it really.
So, when you're talking to kids and this age group that's going on at the college level, what do you get when you find something that could be considered irreparable? Or are those things where you come out, if you've got a kid that gets your headlines, how do you, for lack of a better term, fix it?
Well, first thing, I'd tell them to clean it. I mean, go into your Facebook page or go into your Twitter account. It's kind of the rule of thumb, is there anything on there you wouldn't want your mother or a judge to see? And they kind of look at me kind of funny. I said, well, think about it. Say there's pictures of you drinking. Say there's pictures of you with a red Solo cup. You might have water in it. Who knows? But God forbid something happens that night or somebody gets drunk or gets a DUI. There's proof. There's pictures of that. Would you want, if I'm hiring and you guys all hire people and, I know that I get somebody's resume, that's the best of you. You're not going to get any better than that. Or our resume tapes, I'd be crazy if I didn't put together the best resume tape I ever had. Now, pull the veil out. Let's see who you are. And what actually fascinates me is the amount of NFL guys. We get them at the Senior Bowl, and we work with them right before they go into Combine. How many of these guys, when they're done with us, they're going to meet with the scouts downstairs in Mobile, and how many of them, I look at their pages and they've got guns and they've got money and they've got the alcohol. I said, you're about to go downstairs and they've got printouts, this thick of that stuff. They're going to pay you $20 million. Don't worry about where I got these pictures. Don't worry about how I found, clean it up, fix it, and try to rebrand yourself to the best that you can because once it's out there, it's out there. But make sure that everything you're doing, they work way too hard to get to this point. Don't screw it up on social media.
On the flip side of that, how much has social media helped grow sports?
A ton, because of the power that all these coaches have. If you got, use Dan as a great example. If he's on his Twitter account all the time, encouraging fans to come out, encouraging, empowering, congratulations to the women's golf team, congratulations to the baseball team, getting people out. There's so many other people that he can reach or that coaches can reach. It's definitely helped. It's definitely helped pull people together. It's definitely helped you see a little bit a different side of some of these guys that maybe you may not have had a chance to see before because you don't know about LeBron James. You see LeBron James as this larger than life figure, but then all of a sudden he tweets a picture out of him getting a haircut or him at the barbershop or him with his kids, and for just a little bit of time, a fan who's following him goes, okay, I see. He's just like you and me, except he makes $100 million, short of that. But I think it helps bring you closer to the fan. It kind of takes away, it kind of aids in that fan experience a little bit.
Any other questions for Lee? All right, thanks, Lee.
Cool.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Thank you. Thanks.